Okay class, what I want to do in this video is go over your special right triangle worksheet and the multi-step special right triangle worksheet. But first what I want to do is a review on square roots and the rules to simplifying roots. And first we'll just start out with if you have a square root of any number, I'll just call it A, and you multiply the same thing. So you have the square root of some number A times the square root of that same number. You're just going to get that number back. So like if we do the square root of 5 times the square root of 5, that's the square root of 25, which is 5. Okay, and let's do another example. If we have the square root of 3 times the square root of 2, that's just the square root of 6. If you if you have a number in front of the root, like 2 root 3 times 5 root 3, well, remember, if I multiply these root 3's together, we get 3. And you're multiplying 2 times 5 times 3. So that gives you 30. Alright, and if you have 2 root 3 times 5 root 2, well, multiplying the root 3 times the root 2, that gives you root 6, and then you have 2 times 5 is 10, so it's 10 root 6. Okay, if you are if you have to simplify your answer, like if you get 2 over the square root of 3, we don't want to leave a square root in the denominator. And so what we do is we rationalize the root by multiplying the bottom and the top by that root. So you're basically multiplying 2 over root 3 times 1, because root 3 divided by root 3 is 1. But you're getting rid of the square root on the bottom. So we multiply straight across. 2 times root 3 is 2 root 3. And root 3 times root 3 is 3. So this would be simplified. And you always want to check this fraction right here and make sure that it does not simplify any further. 2/3 is simplified as far as it'll go. Alright, let's do another one. Let's see, 4 over root 6. Simplifying that, we'll do times root 6 over root 6. Multiply straight across, that's 4 root 6 over root 6 times root 6 is 6. Okay, so if you look at that fraction, 4 over 6, that simplifies down. That's 2/3. And so my answer is 2 root 6 over 3. Okay. And sometimes you'll have a root on the bottom, but you also have a root on the top. And so if we have like 4 root 6 over root 3. Well, you could multiply bottom and top by root 3 and get your answer that way, or you could say root 6 divided by root 3 is root 2. Root 3 goes into root 6 root 2 times, and so my answer would just be 4 root 2. Okay. And another thing you will see on this worksheet when you divide fractions, like you might see 2 over root 3, and you have to divide by 3, or something like that. How do you do 2 over root 3 divided by 3? When you divide, you're just multiplying by the reciprocal. So if I put 3 over 1, this is a fraction divided by a fraction, so you're multiplying your numerator times the reciprocal of the denominator. So you're multiplying by 1/3. And that gives me 2 over root 3 times 3. That's 3 root 3. And then get rid of the root. So that's root 3, and that gives me 2 root 3 over, okay, so root 3 times root 3 is 3, times the 3 is 9. So you may see something like that on the worksheet where you have to divide fractions. So this is just a little review of simplifying square roots. Okay, now what we're going to do is look at your special right triangle worksheet. Or before we look at that, let's just talk about the two special right triangles. You have a 45, 45, 90. Let's talk about that one first. So 45, 45, and 90 degrees. Okay, on this triangle, your two legs are exactly the same length. Just call them X. And your hypotenuse of a 45, 45, 90 is whatever your leg length is, you multiply that times root 2. So whatever the leg is, X times root 2. So let's look at a couple. Let's say I have, let's say that you have 45, 45, 90, and the side length is 2 root 2. Find the other two sides. Well, my other leg is the same, 2 root 2. My hypotenuse is whatever my leg length is, which is 2 root 2, times root 2. So we'll say 2 root 2 times root 2. So that is going to be 2 times, and remember these multiply together, that just gives you 2. And so my hypotenuse is 4. All right. If they give you the hypotenuse of a 45, 45, 90, let's say it's 12. Okay, so 12 represents x root 2. 12 is equal to x root 2. Well, what we need to do is solve for x, and that'll give us our side lengths. And so this is x times root 2. We're going to divide by root 2 to both sides. That's going to give me the x by itself. But we don't want to leave the root on the bottom. And so if we rationalize that root, we'll say 12 over root 2 times root 2 over root 2. And that gives me 12 root 2 over 2. And look at this fraction, 12 over 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And so my leg lengths on the triangle are going to be 6 root 2. 6 root 2. Okay, and I want you to see this pattern. See if you can see the pattern. I'm just going to give you another one. Let's say it's a 45, 45, 90, and the hypotenuse is 8. What do you think the leg lengths are? Just looking at number 2, what we just did. See if you can see the pattern without doing all the algebra. The legs are going to be 4 root 2 and 4 root 2. Okay. Now let's look at a 30, 60, 90. 30, 60, 90. Okay, so on your 30, 60, 90 triangles, the side across from 30 is your short side. We'll just call it x. The hypotenuse is double the short side, so it's 2x. And the other side across from 60 is your short side times root 3. So x times root 3. Okay, so we got our short side across from 30, double that for the hypotenuse, and the other side is my short side times root 3. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Let's say that the hypotenuse is 10, and we have, this is 30, 60, 90. Find the other two sides. Okay, so remember the hypotenuse is double my short side. So my short side across from the 30 is 5. And the other side is my short side times root 3. So 5 root 3. Okay, let's say that you're given the side across from the 60 is 10. And you need to find the other ones. Well, you don't have the short side, you don't have the hypotenuse, but all I know is 10 is my short side times root 3. So we'll set this equation up. 10 is my short side, we'll call it x, times root 3. All right, we're going to solve for x. So let's divide by root 3. Divide by root 3. Cancel your root 3's, and don't leave it with the root on the bottom. So we'll rationalize the root. So 10 over root 3 times root 3, root 3. That's 10 root 3 over 3. This is my short side, x. Okay, so that goes here. And my hypotenuse is double my short side. So 2 times 10 root 3 over 3. 2 times 10 root 3 over 3. So my hypotenuse is 20 root 3 over 3.